Well, hello there, people. We are going to talk about version numbers, something as boring as version numbers. Because people, they are like, oh my god, I really need this latest version of this program, or else it will not be stable, it will not be secure, and blah blah blah. Or I don't like static releases because it takes too long to get new features and box updates and stuff like that. I'm going to show you how Red Hat do it, and the way Red Hat do it is also how Fedora is doing it. And I am going to show you guys that you kind of have to understand how each and individual project or maintainer doing version number schemes, because it's different. You may think you're running, let's say, the kernel 5.14. So you're like, okay, I can't take advantage of things in 5.16 or 18. You can. Because what companies like Red Hat and Fedora and Ubuntu and other people are doing is they are backporting or adding new features or added capabilities to existing software if needed. Or adding, bug fixes and security fixes to older software if needed, so you can be running a kernel 4.5.14 and have some of the features and capabilities of 5.18. Really confusing, right? So let's read up. I'm going to read out loud with my dyslexia and bad pronunciation, but I will put this link down below so you guys can see it, and I hope that you can kind of understand why you should not be this fucking hooked up and so fussy about version numbers. It's more about if it works for you, okay? And we will go and read this. It took me actually a month to find this fucking link because I've seen it before and I couldn't remember if I have read this before, if it was Fedora or Red Hat or Ubuntu or where the fuck it was, but I finally found it. So here it is. This is like product services. This is from 2020. Knowledge base, after an upstream project has released a newer version of a package, when will that package on a Red Hat Enterprise Linux system be updated to this version? And Fedora kind of do this to some or less extents. Other distributions like Ubuntu also do this to less and more extents, but it's kind of common practices to do the things that they are talking about here, and we will read them. So environment, well, again, just think Ubuntu, something like that. But in this case, it's Red Hat Linux Enterprise. Or Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So, issue. Package provided in Red Hat, I will just call it Red Hat, is not latest. When will the latest package be available? OpenSSL package provided in Red Hat is old when new packages will be released. The Python version with Red Hat 5.4 is way out of date. How can I install a later updated kernel in Red Hat Linux? Or in Red Hat, sorry. Is there a supported version of Red Hat Enterprise Linux repos, kernel ML, kernel LCS package? How does Red Hat packaging versioning and packages version works? This is kind of the one that we need to be aware of and think about. And you kind of have to understand this for each distribution. How do they do version numbers of their software and what does it entail? So resolution, when looking at capabilities of Red Hat packages compared to later upstream versions, it is incorrect to focus on the version number. It is incorrect to only focus on the version number. Instead, the focus should be on a specific feature or bug/security fix that the latest upstream software provides. So, do you need the new feature? Is there a bug? Is the security fix? That's what we need to focus on. For example, the SO resource port, or what's called socket options, was added to upstream kernel version 3.9. However, it is not necessary to use kernel 3.9 or RHEL 7 to take advantage of this feature, as it is available in Red Hat 5.6. due to proactive feature enhancement by Red Hat. So they have backported in, and we'll go and explain this a little bit down here. This process is explained more thoroughly in the root causes section below. Red Hat Linux Again, I would just call it Red Hat. Red Hat is a maintained collection of many different software components which are drawn from the wide open source software community. Learn to read, Kent. At the time that RHEL or Red Hat major versions is released, a particular version of each of the software components has been selected and run through a rigorous testing and quality engineering cycle to improve stability. This is kind of what a lot of static releases do. They are like, we are going to release, so we are freezing the software. It's not going to change from version what it is now to like version. If it's version 1, it's not going to change to version 2. If it's version 3, it's not going to change to version 4 until the next release cycle, so they can test it. They can make sure that it's secure, it's stable. What you kind of should go away with already from this is that static releases is kind of, or should be looked at a little bit more like, okay, these should in theory be more stable. They should in theory be more secure because that's their main focus, is not implementing the latest and greatest. You get the newest things next time. 6 months or a year, how often they update. There are caveats to this, like everything in life and software. Firefox under Ubuntu, as we know, gets updated all the time. Chrome gets updated all the time, while GNOME stays the same. So there are caveats and stuff like that. During the life cycle of Red Hat's major releases, bug security fixes and future enhancements are backported from upstream projects to Red Hat packages. So you may see 2.4, but you will be getting fixes, future enhancements from 3.0. Oh, no. What did I say? Let's try again. It may say 2.6, but you will get these kind of things from 2.8 into 2.6, and they will explain further down how they're doing it. Sometimes these backports are done proactively by Red Hat to meet expectations, anticipated customers' demand, or to resolve important issues. So if they see something that's been worked on but it's not implemented yet, they will then implement it and make it work. And vulnerabilities. Sometimes these backports are done at the request at Red Hat customers. Red Hat also contributes any fixes or enhancement by Red Hat's developers back to the upstream project. Again, something Ubuntu does and a lot of other distributions does and software distribution makers do. And will only include... I lost myself here. And will only include a contribution in Red Hat's product once the contribution has been accepted by upstream projects. So if they have a fix, they fix it, they send it to the upstream project. If they accept it, it's now in Red Hat. Kind of need the validation, apparently. Red Hat packages have a version numbering scheme based on these backport changes. And this is why you need to understand your version numbering of software in your on each distribution, because this is how Red Hat is doing it, and therefore it's not far-fetched to think that that's also how Fedora is doing it. Ubuntu may have another scheme, but they're kind of the same. The backport changes, usually in form of suffixes. On the upstream version numbering, suffixes on the upstream service version numbering, again, dyslexia like a motherfucker. When the upstream project increases the number version of a component, this does not necessarily mean that Red Hat packages version numbering will follow. It's more likely that Red Hat's specific version suffix will increase instead. For example, if Red Hat in releases include package version software 2.10 of a particular piece of software, Red Hat changes will likely follow a numbering scheme like software version 2.10-1. And you see this with Ubuntu, they have their own version numbering after the official version number. You see SUSE do it, OpenSUSE do it, Fedora do it, Red Hat do it. So this kind of don't mean that much. It's what comes after it. Let's do a little bit of an example here. So here, I'm now running kernel 5.18.5, but Red Hat has done 200, Fedora, sorry, have done 200 revisions or addition or fixing or stuff. They messed around with the kernel 200 times to this day. So that means that if you go and download the source code from 5.18.5 and the Red Hat's, Fedora source code from their kernel, they may not be 100% the same, because it's not the same kernel anymore, because Fedora have messed around with it in there. The same with Ubuntu. A 5.15 kernel from Ubuntu is not the same as a 5.15 kernel from, kernel.org. And it could be the same with LibreOffice. LibreOffice 5.8 may not be the same as 5.8 under Ubuntu. They may have done something to make it work better with Ubuntu. So it may be called 5.8-8 or 5.8-Ubuntu 2 or something to that fucking data. Under Red Hat and Fedora, it will be becoming LibreOffice 5.8- and then, how many times they have done something to the kernel, to the set software. Then software 2.10 or then software version 2.10-2, then software version 2.10.3, and so on. You get the idea again. That's why here it's called 200. Again, done differently from different distributions, but it kind of gives you an idea that what's most important when you're running a distribution is not so much this, it's this. And then you have to research what they have done to backport or add and check these kind of things after the version numbers. Most people, they only care about this. Oh, it's software 5.8. It's inferior. It's outdated. Yeah, but you don't know what they have done to that software. Even if upstream changes the software to software version 2.11, the Red Hat packages will likely remain on software 2.10- and then a number, and fixes from the last upstream releases may, not always may, be backported into Red Hat Linux or into RHEL software version 2.10- numbering. Again, you need to understand what they have done here to actually gauge exactly what version of the software you're running. Think of it a little bit like this is the Red Hat kernel that is based on 5.18.5 with Fedora. No fairy dust on it. It's based. It's not the same as if you're running the 5.18.5 kernel from kernel.org. This is one of the major advantages of using enterprise Linux software over other distributions, as even though Red Hat software is enhanced with fixes and capabilities, software interfaces are maintained so that existing applications continue to function within a major release, between minor releases, and even between major gaps. This exact product phase is in which bug fixes, security fixes, software enhancement, and hardware enablement are performed, are explained in relevant, product's lifetime documents. So what you should take away from this is, like I said here, when you're running a distribution and you really are hooked on the latest and greatest software, oh my god, I'm only running kernel 5.4 or something like that. This is what's important. This is what's important. Because that means that, they have done something to it. They could have backported a fix. They could have, not backported a fix. They could have mended a fix. They could have backported a feature. They could have added security, not added security fixes. Yeah, added security fixes. I was about to say security faults. Added security fixes that have been fixed in, let's say, kernel 5.19. They could even add in features that's in 5.19. So again, let's say we are running, let's do a DNF update here, because there is an update. So you can see here, this here is the official version number, but Red Hat or Fedora have already messed with it one time. So when they mess with it another time, or tweak some stuff with it, add some features or fixes or stuff like that, it will become -2. So here I'm trying to install Firefox. So this is the official release of Firefox. So this is the official release of Firefox. But Fedora, the Fedora package developer, have done something to Firefox 6 times already. If that's just changing a number or a line, or making sure that changing a dependency, or moving a button a little bit, or adding a bug fix, or fixing a security problem. We don't know. You have to go and research that yourself. But that means that, again, if you take the source code from Mozilla and do that for Firefox, and take the source code from this package here, they are not the same. Down here, Mozilla file system is 1.19. They have already messed with that 28 times. Again, it could just move a comma. It could be, oh, instead of this package is a dependency, we need another package to be a dependency. Or it could be changing a spelling mistake. It could be those little things, you know. But they have messed with the package 28 times. So when we download the source code from Mozilla file system from its original origin or path or author or what you would call it, and you download the source code from this package here and look at it, it's not the same. So you are getting a better version. You're actually getting a better version of Firefox on Fedora, or at least for Fedora. You're getting a better Firefox for Fedora under Fedora than if you're just downloading Firefox from Firefox's website. Because then you're not getting these 6 changes that they have done. Again, I don't know what they are. They could just be spelling mistakes. It could be a pixel out of line, you know, a rogue pixel running around making pixely, you know, craziness. It could be small things like this, but it's not the same. So if you're going, we can also go on to here and we can go in here and we can be like VLC Ubuntu. So here you kind of get an idea about how Ubuntu is doing it. So it's 3.1. So what I guess is that it's revision 3 from Ubuntu, built one time from AMD 64, but it's based or built on top of VLC 3.0.1. So again here, it could be just crazy little fucking, you know, my fingers are going nuts today, crazy little numbering or rogue pixels or spelling mistakes that they are fixing. Or they are maybe adding another feature, or they are adding a security fix, or fixing a security problem, or they are fixing a bug and stuff like that, and then sending it up to upstream. So you could potentially, under VLC, under Ubuntu, have a more bug-free experience, because upstream may not have implemented it yet, but the Ubuntu package, or the Ubuntu developers, may have fixed a bug for you. So even though it says 3.0.1, you may already running some stuff in that version under Ubuntu that's only coming out in, let's say, 3.0.2 when they release that under VLC. Just looking at VLC and say, oh, I'm only running VLC 3.0.1. No, you're not. You're actually running a enhanced or modified version of that. So all of you guys and gals out there that are so fucking into version numbering, for your distribution, it's really important that you understand these things here. Because that tells you way more about what the software really is. All this is saying is that this is a version, a modified version of VLC 3.0.1. How much is modified? I don't know. We need to figure out what they mean by, you know, how Ubuntu do their version scheming after the dash, and what is gone into each revision and stuff like that. Again, we don't know, but what it tells you is that this package is built on or it's built off 3.0.1. So what is more important, that it's secure and bug-free, or you may get a new feature? A lot of people say feature, or some people say feature. Some just want a bug-free and security-free, not security-free, but a bug-free and secure system. So version numbering is a really fucking crazy beast. And just because you see an update to a package like we did down here, if I'm... all of these here, like this is the 3rd revision, or what you would call it, this is the 1st revision, this is the 2nd revision, this is the 1st revision. And when you start to backport features and bug fixes and security fixes into old software, is it really old software? Don't get too fucking fussed up with version numbers. Here's what you should take away from this, and I hope you should take away from this. You don't need the latest and greatest. Only look at version numbers if there is something that the current version of the software don't satisfy. So if you heard that GNOME is implementing a new finger gesture on those thread packy thingies, and you really want that, yeah, of course, research that. Okay, is it being backported into the GNOME that I'm using on my distribution? Or, well, if not, well, I want it now, so I'm going to run Fedora Arts, not Fedora Arts or Tumbleweed or something like that. Yeah. Or if you're running, this is Chrome, but if you're running like Firefox or not Firefox, LibreOffice or VLC or, and it's not working on my system, or, oh, I really wish it has this feature, and I know that I read that they are working on it. Figure out if your distribution is backporting that feature into the existing version of the software that they have in the repo, or when it's coming to the repos, or if you have to wait 6 months or how long the release cycle is for the distribution. And then make a decision. Do I really need a rolling release? Or do I already get, what I need out of the software that I have? I hope this will take you off this train or chasing the dragging of version numbers, because unless you understand what each software developer is doing, what the package maintainer is doing, what the distribution maintainers and distribution makers are doing with a piece of software, you may not get the software that you think you are getting. You may get actually a better software than you think you're getting, a newer software than you think you're getting. Because they go in and do stuff behind the scenes that you don't really know about. And you only fussed about, it's only version 3.5. Or so I need 3.6, but it's only 3.5. You don't know if they're backported everything that's important to you as an end user already into it. So that's why it's called 3.5-300. So yeah, see you all later. Bye bye.